What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you an expanded deck for the first time in a couple weeks, and this deck is one that I have been wanting to bring you guys since since I started playing this game and started becoming a TCG tuber, and that is an Honorstoise deck with some obvious updates since it was used in 2015 by Jacob von Wagner to win the Pokemon World Championships. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, I'm going to continue with my story a little bit just because the story kind of leads into the question of the day. So back in 2015, I decided to look into the TCG because, I mean, I was having fun playing Pokemon and like the video game style and all that. But really, I was just getting tired of it. I was tired of all the like the Fire Blast misses, Focus Blast misses, Scald Burns, that type of stuff. So I decided to look into another avenue of Pokemon to have fun with, and that was the TCG. So I started watching old TCG videos, like all the way back from like 2012 to try to learn the game, and like 2015 just to learn the current game. And of course, I came across Jacob von Wagner and his Honorstoise deck winning the World Championships against Night March, like Seismitoad Bats, all of those other horrible, awful decks that nobody wanted to play against. And it was just kind of a really, really, really cool deck to see. And that was kind of when I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get the Jirachis, the Shaymins. I mean, it was back when I just started, so I had absolutely no cards. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to get all these cards to make this. So building an Honorstoise deck was kind of a pipe dream at the time. Since then, I've luckily been able to accumulate enough cards to create this deck, and I have had it sitting in my list of decks for a very long time, and decided, you know what, I'm gonna update it with Guardians Rising because we have this cool new thing called Tapu Lele come out that replaces both Mewtwo and Jirachi to an extent. I'll get into why it doesn't exactly replace Mewtwo in a little bit. But I decided, you know what, it's time. I'm going to bring you guys the Honorstoise deck, and my question of the day is, what was the deck that you guys wanted to build when you first started playing the TCG, but you thought that, oh, there's no way I'm going to be able to build that right now. That's just going to be kind of like my goal deck, the deck that I want to be able to build. What deck was that for you guys? Let me know in the comments section down below, and why. I would love to hear how you guys started in the TCG and what was the first deck that you guys truly like set as your goal to be able to build. But anyway, on to the deck. This is Honorstoise. If you guys don't know what that was, because I mean some of you probably have come into the TCG as new TCGers in the past 2 years since, wow, I'm getting old, since it was used in the World Championships. And basically it's an Archie's Blastoise deck. Archie's ace in the hole. You can only play this when this is the last card in your hand. Put a water Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench, then you draw 5 cards. Well, just pair that with Blastoise to Deluge, and then use different attackers to just continually stream big attacks. And really the goal of this deck, get a Blastoise up turn 1, be able to Secret Sword with Keldeo, who is the main attacker, and its attack does 50 damage plus 20 more for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon card of all time, so that kind of also contributed to why I wanted to do this deck so badly. And really the whole deck is just centered around getting Blastoise up turn 1, and not turn 2. Turn 1 as consistently as possible, and really just the rest of the cards are geared towards accomplishing that. Now, the reason that I updated this deck a little bit was because of 2 cards in particular. Well, actually, I mean, Fighting Fury Belt was just kind of thrown in there over Muscle Band to give a little bit more longevity when combined with Rough Seas, so that really wasn't the exact reason that I wanted to do an updated version of this deck. The real reason was Tapu Lele. Now, in his original list, he had 2 Jirachi EXs, which have the exact same ability as Tapu Lele, but 90 HP, and then he also ran a single copy of Mewtwo EX, who has X-Ball, which is the same as Energy Drive, except for the fact that X-Ball can hit for weakness, and that's why Tapu Lele doesn't exactly replace Mewtwo directly. But, I mean, it might as well, because you're rarely hitting for weakness. And against things that you would hit for weakness, Keldeo usually has a pretty decent matchup against those types of decks anyway. I mean, I'm just saying generally. I'm not saying all the time, because there are 100% instances where being able to hit for weakness would come in handy with Energy Drive or X-Ball. But I'm just saying generally, Tapu Lele replaces the role of something that you can just load up a bunch of energy onto that's not Keldeo, that can hit for a ton of damage with Energy Drive or X-Ball, while simultaneously replacing Jirachi as a much bulkier Pokemon. And really just Lele 100% outclasses Rachi in this deck, because we don't run Level Ball in this deck, and that's really the only reason to run Jirachi over Lele, as opposed, well, except in like Rainbow Road decks as well. So Rainbow Road and decks that utilize Level Ball, Jirachi can have some merit over Tapu Lele, but generally, I mean, in this deck, Tapu Lele 100% outclasses Rachi, and so I wanted to try Honorstoise with Tapu Lele, see how it does, see if it still can be relevant and still can be strong in the current expanded meta. Now, the Pokemon, really this whole thing is just centered around getting an Archie's Ace in the Hole turn 1, getting your Blastoise up immediately, and going from there. So I'm honestly just going to start from the beginning, and it's really hard to explain all of the different combos. You really just have to see this deck in action in order to be able to fully understand like the different types of combos that need to be made in order for this deck to function successfully. So I mean, I can't go through all the combos just because there's so many, so I'm literally just going to go through what each card does for the deck. Shaymin gives you a little extra draw power in that turn. You can be like, okay, well, I need a couple more cards in order to be able to pull this off. I might need to draw into an Ultra Ball or a Computer Search or some form of discard card. Shaymin allows you to draw those and also explode after Archie's Ace in the Hole by being able to draw you more cards with that as well. Exeggcute helps you manage your discard cards very, very well. As you can see, we have 9 different cards that discard 2 cards from your hand in order to be able to use them. Ultra Ball, Superior Energy Retrieval, and Computer Search. Now, normally, I mean, well, in this deck, you want to get your hand down to 0, well, hand down to 1, so that you can play Archie's Ace in the Hole for Blastoise. In order to do that, you need a lot of cards that discard cards from your hand, and that way you're able to play your hand down to that 1, so that you're able to play that Archie's Ace in the Hole. And sometimes you're left in a situation where it's like, well, I have these, but I would discard stuff that's useful, or I would discard stuff where I'd be put at 0 in order to do that. Exeggcute helps you manage that perfectly. That way, if you're stuck with a hand of just an Ultra Ball, or you're stuck with the hand of like an Ultra Ball and an Energy, but you want to play the Energy down, or something like that, Exeggcute can help manage the discard effects of those discard cards. 2 Lele, like I said, because I mean 2 Jirachi were already in this spot and another Mewtwo, so Lele just replaced both Jirachi and the Mewtwo, gave me an extra card to work with, which I ended up putting as a Fighting Fury Belt if I remember correctly. But again, Lele's just great for Wonder Tag. Ultra Ball can turn into Archies, that type of stuff. Very, very strong card, very powerful in this deck because it can attack as well. 3 Keldeo, main attacker. Rush In is also incredible. That way we can't be stalled out by like paralysis, sleep, anything like that. 2 Blastoise, just so we're not susceptible to having one prized potentially, which could be very, very, very bad for this deck. Well, actually, I have had situations where both Blastoise are prized, but I mean, that rarely happens. 1 Blastoise getting prized, that can happen. 2 Blastoise prized, a lot less likely to happen. And so, yeah, 2 Blastoise. And then finally, 1 Wailord. I could not bring myself to get rid of this guy just because it's such a good stalling Pokemon for like, okay, I need something to take a hit. Wailord, you can do it. And also, Wailord gives you a very, very good matchup against Night March. Just throwing that out there because it has such huge amounts of HP and is able to take easy one-hit knockouts on the Night March Pokemon. As for the items, 4/4 of Acro Bike and Trainers Mail. Just mill through the deck as quickly as possible. Get the cards that you need as quickly as possible. This deck is all about just going through your deck, getting the exact cards you need to pull off Blastoise. And Trainers Mail and Acro Bike are absolutely maxed out so that we're able to do that. 4 Battle Compressor, throw like Blastoise, throw Exeggcute, throw Archies, throw Energy. Basically just throw the stuff into the discard pile that you need in the discard pile, because the discard pile is actually a huge resource in this deck, because Archie and Superior Energy Retrieval both pull from the discard pile, and then Exeggcute also can propagate from the discard pile. So the discard pile is actually a huge resource in this deck, which is why you need to manage it carefully. And then we also want to get the Blastoise in there as quickly as possible, so absolute max number of Battle Compressor. 1 Computer Search, because this deck relies on so many combos, being able to Computer Search, discard 2 cards from your hand, and just get that 1 remaining puzzle piece can really be crucial in getting a turn 1 Blastoise. And basically, if you have a Computer Search in your hand turn 1, you pretty much have a turn 1 Blastoise. Yes, there are situations where you don't have that, but having simply a Computer Search in your hand as well as a bunch of other stuff really just means that you have a turn 1 Blastoise. 4, Superior Energy Retrieval. Again, a discard option, but also can flood your hand with energy cards. That way you can deluge them onto all of your attackers. 4, Ultra Ball Guaranteed gets us the Pokemon we want when we want it, and discard cards. 4, VS Seekers let us reuse all of our supporters. And then as for these supporters, 2 Archie's Ace in the Hole. Gonna want to have that in the very beginning. 2 Archies because we want to have that. We don't want to have it prized. That'd be very, very bad if it is prized, so 2 leaves us less susceptible to that. 1 Lysandre because Lysandre is just so amazing. You don't need him as in heavy of numbers as you normally would, but still you need that option for late game. 1, 2 of N and Juniper just to be able to have those for later in the game, like just shuffle draw or discard draw. Just draw supporters where you don't have to use Archies. 2 Fighting Fury Belt. This was initially 1 Muscle Band if I remember correctly. This just gives longevity to our basic Pokemon attackers, because you're rarely going to be attacking with Blastoise. There are instances where you will, but you're rarely going to be attacking with Blastoise. Fighting Fury Belt just gives them a little bit more longevity and lets them hit for 10 extra damage. 2 Float Stone, put them on like our Keldeo for Rush In and Free Retreat, or also on Blastoise just so that big fatty doesn't have to just rely on Keldeo to rush in and retreat with it. And then 11 Water Energy, we want a very heavy amount, so that we can slap them all onto like Keldeo, Lele, whatever our attacker is, and just go ham on our opponent. So yeah, I can only talk about the deck so much for you guys to understand what's going on with it, so let's go ahead and see these combos in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Suited Joe? Suited Joe, I'm guessing that's how you say it, but I'm probably saying that 1000% wrong. We do win the coin flip, and yes, I would like to go first. And we start off with an Exeggcute, but we start off with some stuff that is definitely going to lead to a first turn Blastoise, which, I mean, is obviously the goal of this deck. And I mean, if my opponent knocks out an Exeggcute, not a big deal. We see Aqua Patch, interesting. Aqua Patch and Superior. So are we facing up? Are we up against a? Are we in a mirror? Blastoise mirror? That'd be really cool. Let's see. Let's grab. Okay, so yeah, there's no way that this does not lead to a turn 1 Blastoise. I'm gonna go ahead and just immediately get rid of 2 Blastoise and an Archie. I have all the cards I need. Let's go ahead and Battle Compressor, get rid of a Juniper, a Water Energy, and I want to get rid of something else. You know what, let's just get rid of another Water Energy. Because, I mean, I'll be able to do this regardless. Let's Computer Search, get rid of the Acro Bike and the Exeggcute. Probably just grab a Keldeo, because, I mean, I can play the Fighting Fury Belt onto that. And I'm going to Trainers Mail, see if there's anything I can use. Not really. So I think I'm just going to fail the Trainers Mail, because, I mean, I have everything set up that I need to. Play the Keldeo down, play the Fighting Fury Belt onto the Keldeo, and ladies and gentlemen, we immediately have a turn 1 Blastoise. I mean, admittedly, that's the power of Computer Search, just being able to be like, okay, everything I need is right there. Oh boy, this is going to get even juicier, because what I can do, 2 Water Energy, and just Lysandre, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be able to get a Keldeo with 5 energy on it turn 1. Let's propagate the Exeggcute back into my hand, go for the Superior Energy Retrieval, get rid of the N and the Exeggcute, grab 4 energy in my hand, and yeah, if you're playing this in real life, I'd just be like, okay, Deluge. Well, I'd just be like, Deluge, 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 Deluge. You'd be hearing Deluge a lot, and oh, this is awesome. I'm just gonna, yeah, load up Keldeo, because why the heck not? And let's VS Seeker for Juniper for next turn, just in case. I mean, I really had no reason to do that, but I figured, whatever, might as well. In case there's an N or something like that, I'll have the Juniper back in my deck for something. Yeah, so there's that. Turn 1, Keldeo with 5 water energy on it, just casually. Even if my opponent knocks out my Exeggcute with a Sky Return, I mean, that's 1 prize, and I'm just going to be attacking with 2 prizes from here on out. Yeah, he can, like, Lysandre up a Blastoise, but Blastoise is actually really bulky and kind of difficult to knock out, so it's kind of a difficult 1 prize to take. And it looks like we're up against a mirror match. That is awesome. Ooh, he gets rid of my Fighting Fury Belt. That's unfortunate. And he dive balls. I wonder what for. Oh, for his own... Well, I mean, okay. Why was I surprised at the Keldeo? Actually, I wasn't. I was just building it up. But okay, he does Float Stone the Keldeo. And this is actually a little bit problematic. Because Keldeo with 6 energy knocks out Keldeo. And my Keldeo is going to be the one in line of fire first. Just because, I mean, I'm going to take it... Okay, so he is going to... If he Sky Returns, he loses. So my opponent... All I need is a single water energy and I win. That was a big misplay by my opponent. Yeah, even like I drew the Shaymin, which probably would have... I mean, it would have probably gotten me... A combination of Shaymin and Juniper, I can almost guarantee would have gotten me a water energy. So I think my opponent realized their mistake right there. In taking the knockout on the Exeggcute and leaving just a lone Keldeo. That was, I mean, that would have been knocked out just with 1 more energy from Secret Sword. So, yeah, that was game 1. Immediate Blastoise and a ton of energy on Keldeo. That's what this deck does. Let's try to find another one, and hopefully it's a little bit longer. Alrighty, we found another one against Shaymin-1313 with, what's with all the water decks today? I mean, admittedly, this is like the second one, but, we do lose the coin flip, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because with this deck, we are able to get, like, turn 1 Keldeos, and, well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are going to get another turn 1 Blastoise. Because all I have to do is just, Battle Compressor, get rid of Blastoise, Archies, and then probably a Water Energy or something like that. I mean, I have plenty of discard cards in my hand. I will be completely fine no matter what I want to do this turn. This does look to be a Mega Gyarados deck, and if I can get 7 energy or 6 energy and a... If I can get 6 energy and a... Whatchamacallit? If I can get 6 energy and a... what am I trying to say, guys? If I can get 6 energy and a Fighting Fury Belt, there we go, I'll be able to one-shot the Gyarados. So, let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the Juniper, and the N probably... Yeah, let's just grab a Keldeo. That way I can play the water energy onto it. I can Computer Search. I can Exeggcute Propagate back into my hand. I can Computer Search, get rid of the VS Seeker, and the Exeggcute to grab an Archie's. And yeah, once again, turn 1 Blastoise, ladies and gentlemen. Computer Search admittedly helps a lot with that. But what I'm actually going to do is grab a Battle Compressor. That way I will activate... I mean, I'll make Superior Energy Retrieval do a little bit more. I mean, I can always just... I mean, I have the VS Seeker in my hand. So I can always just grab the Archies with that. This way, I save my manual attachment for the turn. And, I mean, I have just another energy that I can grab with Superior Energy Retrieval. So, yeah. This just... And this... Wow, okay, this works. Let's go ahead and play the energy onto... Well, let's Ultra Ball first. Get rid of the Juniper and the Lysandre, grab a Shaymin, see if I can explode just a little bit more. I want to be able to take a knockout on the Gyarados this turn if I can. Let's Shaymin for 5 more cards. Hopefully Superior Energy Retrievals or something like that. Unfortunately, none of those. So let's play that. Trainers Mail, please Superior. There we go. Okay, so not... I think I'm going to be 1 energy short, actually. Let's Propagate once again. Well, it's Superior, get rid of probably Ultra Ball and the Exeggcute, grab 3 energy. And yeah, I think I'm going to be just 1 energy short because I don't have another Shaymin in the deck. If I did, I would well, the Shaymin's in the prizes, but if I did, I would 1000% go for that because, I mean, hey, we'd win the game off this turn. But unfortunately, I only get 5 energy on my Keldeo, and gonna hit this Gyarados for 170, which is not quite enough. Just, well, 160. Did I do math wrong? Guys, I can't math. I cannot math. Okay, 170 was with 6 water, but no Fighting Fury Belt. 160 is 5 energy and a Fighting Fury Belt. So okay, yeah. I'm just once again losing my mind. It's casual. It's what happens. If my opponent, okay, my opponent ends me. That's fine. I get a fresh hand of 6. I have a Keldeo that is staring down his Gyarados. That Gyarados is in a lot of trouble. I even get a Lele for like a Juniper next turn if I want to. I can even start powering up a Lele. That's another reason why I like Lele in this deck over Jirachi, because we're able to just power up Lele as an attacker after we use its main attack. My opponent is sending up Lapras, drawing 3 cards. What I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm probably just gonna Lele for a Lysandre. First things first, let's Deluge onto Keldeo. I'm gonna go ahead and throw 7 energy onto it. That way it can knock out a Lapras in one shot. And then let's Lele, probably try to grab the Lysandre to be able to... Never mind. Well, I guess that's what I get for discarding everything. And okay, I guess my opponent just forfeits. Maybe he thought I had the Lysandre, but I mean, I would have been able to knock out the Lapras in one shot anyway. Gyarados was nowhere near powered up and able to attack. So, I mean, there's that. But, yeah, once again, get a turn 1 Blastoise with 5 energy on a Keldeo in the very beginning. And it just proved to be too much for my opponent. So, let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found one against Mugwump 2 with, well, got a Ray Eels deck. So, no, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. That'd be really cool. I mean, actually, I think it'd just be completely overwhelmed in the expanded format. But, okay. So, I technically can work my hand down to 0. But... yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't be able to get... I need to get like a... So I might just have to rely on Shaymin for this. And there is a Rayquaza. Is this actually a Ray Eels deck? I was joking, but I mean, hey, if it ain't, I mean, if it works, then sure. I'm gonna Acro Bike to see what I can get. Ooh. Well, you know what? I think this gets me my turn 1. Let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of the energy and the Acro Bike to grab the Blastoise. And then all I have to do is Superior Energy Retrieval, get rid of the Blastoise and the energy. No, I need to get rid of the other energy. So I'm going to have to Shaymin for 0. Okay, let's grab that energy. There we go. Let's play that onto the Wailord. Play the Shaymin down. Honestly, you know what? I might as well just go for more, because I really, really don't want to just Shaymin for 0. Let's see, can I get something else? Yes and no. Let's grab the Acro Bike. See what we can get. Get another energy. So I mean, I could have very easily gotten the turn 1 Archies if I had just Shaymin for 0. But I mean, I really didn't feel that overly comfortable with it. And here we go. Okay, what I can do, Ultra Ball, get rid of the energy and the Archies to grab... Let's just grab the Exeggcute. That way I can have a little bit better discards later in the game. Ultra Ball, get rid of the Exeggcute and the water energy, grab a Keldeo. Do I want to do that? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to have a full bench. I mean, it'll be a full bench, but I still have the spot for Blastoise and then via Seeker for the Archies. Turn 1 Blastoise. Here we go once again. See if I can get something good. Maybe a couple Battle Compressor or something like that. I really would have liked the Battle Compressor, but here we go. Let's Trainers Mail, grab... Ooh, there's actually 4 in there. Very nice. So let's Superior Energy Retrieval. Unfortunately, I don't have a supporter just yet. So let's get rid of the Lysandre and the Keldeo. Grab all 4 of those energy, and then... Probably going to try to space it out a little bit. Wailord would take a 5 discard Dragon Burst in order to knock out, which is kind of awesome. But what I'm going to do is just power up a Keldeo. Yeah, let's just go ahead and power it up completely. I need 2 more energy in order to be able to one-shot the Rayquaza. But other than that, I'm not overly worried, because with the Fighting Fury Belt, he has to have a 4 energy discard in order to knock me out. He's not going to be getting that anytime soon. I think I'm just going to straight up outspeed my opponent at this point. I mean, he ends me, which is amazing because it gets me a new hand and potentially a supporter. Well, I mean, there's Lysandre in there. Get the Sky Air Bridge. Not too big of a deal. And he's just going to Celestial Roar. So, whiffs it completely, and he plays Mega Rayquaza too. Oh, that's interesting. So what I'm going to do right here is Exeggcute Computer Search, get rid of the Archies and the Exeggcute. I could just grab a Battle Compressor, honestly. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Grab, well, let's Trainers Mail, see if we can get a supporter or something. Get an Acro Bike, that is good for me. So let's Battle Compressor right here, thin the deck a little bit. No, I don't want to get rid of Battle Compressor. I want to get rid of Blastoise and 2 Waters. Because, I mean, at the very least, I can Superior Energy Retrieval for the 2 Waters in order to be able to knock out this Rayquaza. Well, it gets rid of the Rough Seas, but it's not too huge of a deal. Let's go ahead and Propagate back into my hand. I mean, I'm not going to be able to... what am I saying? I'm not going to be able to have a draw supported this turn. But I really don't even need to play Lysandre because, I mean, I can just knock out the Rayquaza anyway. So, energy up the Keldeo, energy up the Keldeo once again. Let's go ahead and rush in on the Wailord and then knock out the Rayquaza. I'm going to go ahead and play 1 Float Stone, kind of entice my opponent to play his Startling Megaphone. I mean, I know the Fighting Fury Belts already would kind of do that. But, okay, I get a Water Energy and another Exeggcute. So, I think at this point I'm just going to absolutely steamroll my opponent. I mean, Dedenne, as much as I hate to say it, Dedenne is going to be a pain in the butt. I mean, that thing's going to be able to hit me for 160 damage. And if my opponent... Okay, realistically, if my opponent streams Dedenne's, I lose. Like, that thing is scary for this deck. Kind of wish I had my Rough Seas. But overall, it's not... Yeah, I mean, this is going to hurt. This is really going to hurt. But I mean, I can always just knock it out. I wish I had 2 more energy. That way I could knock out the Dedenne. I could Lysandre up the Rayquaza, take 2 prizes. Or I can knock out the Dedenne, which is the immediate threat. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Save my Lysandres for later. I could have brought up the Rayquaza and taken it out. But my opponent isn't anywhere near having it set up. I mean, promotes a Tynamo, but I mean, I'll just be able to knock that out. As soon as Rayquaza gets like a Fire Energy down on it, it's gone. He is going to go for, looks like he's going to go for T-Wave and try to paralyze me, but I mean, the thing is, I have double Russian with Keldeos, so he can't paralyze me to where I won't be able to attack. I mean, yeah, he can paralyze me, but he won't be able to like effectively paralyze me, if that makes sense. He is going to start grabbing some electrics, but I mean, he's already attached for the turn. So, I mean, there's that. He won't be able to power up Rayquaza at all. I'll just be able to Lysandre that thing up. Tynamos and electrics are not scary at all. And usually the route you want to go against these decks is to take out the Tynamos and electrics. But at this point, I'm so far ahead in prizes, I literally just need to knock out Rayquaza and 1 more thing. And if I knock out the Rayquaza, then anything he puts up at all is going to be knocked out, even just another Dedenne. So while he could take the knockout on my Keldeo with another Dedenne, all I would need is just an energy on my other Keldeo in order to knock out that Dedenne. Because, I mean, I already have the energy in hand. I would literally just need 1 more. And I mean, admittedly, it looks like my opponent's not running like that competitive of a deck. I mean, it's like a, well, it's like a modern Ray Eels without Lele or Shaymin or anything like that. He does go ahead and Dynamotor onto the Rayquaza, so I mean that thing's starting to get powered up, and then he Thunder Waves, gets heads, not a big deal. I have double Russian, so I am just fine. And there are all my VS Seekers, so alright. I mean, I guess I can Lysandre whenever I want, I guess, question mark. But now I can just go ahead and double Russian, bring up that Rayquaza, knock that thing out, take 2 more prizes, and just be 1 prize away from winning the game. All I need is just a single energy, and I'll be able to really knock out whatever my opponent decides to bring up. There's a Lele and a Trainers Mail. So, I mean, the Trainers Mail should be able to get me a... Superior Energy Retrieval. Or if my opponent manages to knock out this Keldeo, I can play down the Lele and grab a Juniper to be able to discard, to be able to just draw a fresh hand of 7 cards. Hopefully there's 1 energy in there somewhere. And he ends me, which, I mean, not a huge deal. Actually, it could be if he gets that Zapdos powered up, because then Zapdos will be able to take the remaining... will be able to knock out my Keldeo with its remaining HP. And that'd be a little bit scary. I get a VS Seeker, which normally is an amazing top deck in these scenarios. But I literally do not have a single draw supporter in my discard pile except for Archie's. Well, I guess that's not horrible. If my opponent... Yeah, if Zapdos knocks me out and I draw into a card that I can play down, I should be able to Archie's. I should be able to use Archie's as my draw supporter when I really don't need the water Pokemon. So that's just kind of a funny development. He grabs Pikachu, plays that down. It's not a huge deal. I don't see a way my opponent can avoid the loss. I mean, he needs like another supporter. I think so. He needs like a Float Stone, he need to double Dynamotor and Float Stone, and have a manual attachment onto the Zapdos in order to avoid the KO. So there's that. We see the Dynamotor. Thing is, like, we haven't seen the Float Stone, which he needs for his electric to be able to retreat. I mean, is he going to try to nuzzle me again? I've already shown that I have ways around that with my double Russian. Honestly, the only thing my opponent could do is try to knock out the active Keldeo, and maybe he misclicked. Maybe he was going for the Zapdos, and he accidentally clicked the Pikachu. And I mean, that'd be understandable at that point, but yeah, so that was another game, and I know usually I'd end it at this point because we're at right around the time I usually like to keep my videos, but these matches have not been ideal, so you know what? I'm going to make this video a little bit longer, and I'm going to try to find another good one and keep my fingers crossed with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against a pure fire deck, but you know what? It says my opponent has the advantage, so we're going to go with that, despite the fact that we have a pure water deck, but somehow I don't even know. I gave up on trying to figure that out a long time ago, and there are some rational explanations. I choose to ignore them all and just guess that this is like a conspiracy theory concocted by Pokemon TCG just to really mess with us. Unfortunately, I'm mulliganing a couple times. My opponent did mulligan once, but if this is what it takes to not start with a Shaymin, then you know what? I'll be okay with that. So I really hope that I get a first turn Blastoise, because if I do, then I just win. Okay. So I get what looks like a good hand, but we'll see. Okay, unfortunately, no. So I'm going to go ahead and Battle Compressor, just get rid of Blastoise and Exeggcute and an Archie's. Just put myself in a position to be able to do that because I top deck the Juniper. If I can get like a discard card, then nope. But I mean, if I got like a superior energy retrieval or an Ultra Ball or a computer search off of that, I would have been able to pull off the turn 1 Blastoise. which unfortunately I did not. So what I'm going to do, play down another Keldeo, play down my Rough Seas, and end the turn. Theoretically, I should be able to... Because, I mean, okay, at this point, literally all I need is a single discard card. Like, all I need is a Superior Energy Retrieval, or an Ultra Ball, or a Computer Search. Sorry for the yawn, just it's contagious. But all I need is a discard card of some kind, and I'll be able to pull off my turn one. Well, not turn one. I'll be able to pull off a Blastoise, and once I get a Blastoise set up, I'm just gonna absolutely plow through my opponent, because there's nothing he could do to a powered up Blastoise at this point. He grabs Braixen for next turn, I'm guessing. Interesting. I mean, he Bridgets, which, I mean, that's seen a lot more in the standard metagame than the expanded, because the expanded is so much faster normally. And I get an N. Oh, okay, please discard something. Trainers Mail. I can work with this. I need a discard card. Still don't get it. Wow. So this is frustrating to say the least. No Ultra Balls, no... Yeah, I mean, they're all there. 6 discard options in my deck. 6 discard cards in my deck. And I can't draw one. So I'm just going to go ahead and get another Water Energy in there. Because, I mean, Superior Energy Retrieval at this point is going to be getting too much energy anyway. So I might as well just do that. And still nothing. Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay, so, I mean, admittedly, if that N wasn't there, I'd be able to pull this off. But what I'm going to do is get rid of Archies. There's a couple VS Seekers in there. Actually, you know what? No, let's keep it in there, because I already have an Archies in the discard pile. Honestly, let's just get rid of 3 Water Energy. That way, I mean, literally, as soon as I hit Blastoise and Superior Energy Retrieval, I'm going to absolutely go off. And, yeah, so, still no discard cards. Are you serious right now? There we go. Thank you. Okay, that was getting a little bit annoying, because, I mean, there's 6 in my deck, and, oh my gosh. Like, I go through nearly 50 cards in my deck, and I hadn't drawn into a single one of them yet. That's annoying. The only problem is Delphox with the Powerful Storm could actually be a gigantic problem. Because, I mean, if he's able to get Powerful Storm up and going repeatedly, then that's going to do a ton of damage, because this deck, the deck that I'm using, relies on having a bunch of energy in play and putting a bunch of energy in play. So I'm thinking that for this match, I might just try to... Interesting. Well, I guess Field Blower, get rid of both of the Fighting Fury belts, or only one Fighting Fury belt, and the Float Stone, which kind of makes sense, but kind of doesn't at the same time. But, so what I'm going to do is probably try to have the minimum number of energy in play, so that I can reliably have an attacker powered up each turn. And even if my opponent manages to get a knockout out of nowhere, I'll still be able to respond immediately. Because Powerful Storm still takes 3 energy, and luckily my opponent doesn't have any energy yet. Jeez. So I'm going to Battle Compressor once again. Honestly, screw you, Water Energy. Forget you, Juniper. Actually, let's just get rid of Juniper. Ultra Ball, get rid of VS Seeker and VS Seeker. I mean, luckily my opponent allowed me to play my Stadium down, and I'm going to play Lele down. Just, no, I'm not going to do anything. Finally, we get a Blastoise. That took way too long, but mostly because we just didn't draw into a single one of our discard cards until this point in the game. And there is literally everything right there. I'm not going to play anything just yet. I'm going to sit on the setup that I have. I have no ways of putting cards back in my deck. I cannot end, because that will just Well, I can't end because I have all 4 VS Seeker in the discard pile because I wasn't able to get a frickin' Archies until this turn. So that's slightly annoying. Only slightly. My opponent actually helps me, putting 1 extra card back in my deck. That might just buy me the time that I need to win the game. And oh, would you look at that? I'm drawing into all my discard cards now. That's nice. Would have liked to see you guys like 3 turns ago. Okay, I'm being slightly salty, but at the same time, like, I'm in such a good position that I don't think my opponent's going to be able to come back. Because, well, he has to take out the Blastoise, which, I mean, is definitely a thing that can happen. But Blastoise is not easily taken out. My opponent could get... He could get a powerful Storm Black... Never mind, he already ended this turn. So he can't attack just yet. Well, I mean, he can go for, like, the... He can go for, like, some of Braxton's attacks, or, like, Delphox's Flickering Flames, or whatever. Goes for the Destructive Flame, gets Tails, that's, I mean, that's fine. And I'm just going to Secret Sword. I have absolutely no reason to try to play cards at this point. I mean, all that would do is just power up his Powerful Storm from the Delphox that's going to be coming in a little bit later. Or the big Delphox. The other Delphox. There we go. Okay. So now he can start Flare Witching, which, I mean, honestly, I love that name. That's just such an awesome name. And while he can, like, Blaze Ball I'm not worried about at all. Powerful Storm is the one that scares me. Because, I mean, that's the one that's going to be... that's going to be the one that's potentially going to be able to knock me out. And... So, yeah, I mean, right now it's all about just... I can't computer... Oh, actually, at this point, I can Computer Search or... I can Computer Search or Trainers Mail. I can't do both because then I'll deck out. So I just have to be very careful with my resources at this point. Make sure that I only have what is necessary. I don't play out anything else, because I mean, if I had played the Computer Search and the Trainers Mail when I drew them, well, I mean, I would just kind of lose, because I would be at 3 cards instead of 4, which would not allow me to take the knockouts necessary to win the game, and my opponent would win by deck out. So the Blacksmith does come into play. Is he gonna... I guess he's just gonna Blaze Ball. Well, I would think he would Blaze Ball. But yeah, okay, he goes for Mystical Fire. I was like, oh, he's Blaze Balling me. Interesting, because then I'd be able to easily knock out his Delphox. So he might just try to retreat it. I don't know. He's putting a lot of fire in the discard pile. Like, I know he just super routed, but he only super routed in 1. And, okay, he does go for the Blaze Ball. So that's honestly fine with me. At this point, let's just Float Stone up the Keldeo. And do I want to power up my other Keldeo this turn? That's the question. I think that is the play. Let's get rid of the Lele because there's no other supporters in my deck, and the Ultra Ball because, I mean, that would just grab me a Shaymin. And then let's grab 4 Water Energy to power up another Keldeo. Just in case something weird happens, if my opponent manages to combine an N with like a Choice Banded Delphox, and then it knocks me out with like Mystical Flames or whatever. But I'm not even going to take that chance. I'm going to rush in with this Keldeo, Secret Sword, knock out the Delphox break. And now I have 2 Keldeos set up. All I need to take is 3 knockouts, and yeah, Powerful Storm can potentially knock me out at this point, but that's 2 Finnegan that are already in the... Well, actually, I guess he got 1 more. But I've already gone through 2 of them. He needs Rare Candy and Delphox and a Lysandre. And again, he keeps putting so many energy into the discard pile. Like, that's not going to be conducive to having the energy necessary. Well, I guess if he has Blacksmith, he's fine. Never mind. I'm thinking more... My head's still in Standard, even though we did see the Blacksmith. And okay, yeah, my opponent just forfeits. So really, there was... Honestly, I don't think there was anything my opponent could have done at that point. I just had my Keldeos way too powered up. I had too many of them. Well, and by too many of them, I mean 2. And I would have very easily been able to get a 3rd one, which kind of would have just sealed the game for me at that point anyway. But Yeah, so unfortunately we didn't get to face any like truly extra competitive expanded decks. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this blast from the past in Honorstoise. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff if you enjoyed it. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.